Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is April, and this week I'm going to be transforming clothes from Walmart. I normally don't buy clothes from Walmart because they aren't my style, so I thought it would be fun to show you how to alter them and make them a little more trendy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on a new video. The first item I'm transforming from Walmart is this lace tank. The drawstring feature at the chest is super trendy right now, but I don't like how close the straps are to the middle. The material isn't stretchy, but I do want to make the tank more fitted on myself. The first thing I did was remove the straps in the front, but left them attached in the back. Next, I want the lace to be transparent except around the boobs, so I cut the lining out in the front and back, again leaving the boob area lined. I'm also going to crop it so that it's below my belly button. Since the lace material has barely any stretch, I can't just take in the sides and make it more fitted. So I decided to sew 3 rows of elastic across the back to pull it together while keeping the front laying flat. I'm using some super skinny elastic and basically just stretched it out completely as I sewed. My stitch setting is on a straight stitch and I increased the length to 3.5. Next, I'm going to fold over the curved top of the bodice where the straps originally were because it's too pointy now and I want a more rounded shape. My camera died here, but I basically just folded the edge over and top stitched the new curve down. Now I can move the front straps farther to the side, place it behind the tank, and top stitch it down with a zigzag stitch. And lastly, hem the bottom of the tank. Here is the final transformation. The next item I found from Walmart is this white peasant blouse. If you watched my last transformation video where I turned the bed sheet into a dress, I'm going to be doing the same thing where I added 2 rows of elastic under the bust and at the waist. Evenly mark out your 2 lines around the top. This was tricky because the fabric was uneven after I washed it, so I actually had multiple attempts at sewing the elastic on, but in the end we made it work. Then using some 1/4 inch elastic, I completely stretched it out as I sewed it along the lines I marked. For the sleeves, I measured up 5 inches and marked a line all around and sewed a basting stitch to gather the sleeves so that I can fit the size of my elastic. The size of the elastic should fit nicely around your arms. Then stretch and sew elastic over the gathering, and that's it. Here is the before and after. feel like there's so many more ways you can alter this top to match your personal style, and love how such a quick, simple change can completely transform an item of clothing. The next item from Walmart are these denim shorts. These shorts are in a size small and it's the smallest size they had. I love the denim material and the paper bag style of the shorts, but it obviously doesn't fit me. 1, the crotch sits too low, so I would have to pull the shorts up higher. And 2, if I pull the shorts up higher, the waist is now extra high at my ribs. So the first thing I have to do is remove the elastic from the shorts and undo the folded waistband. Since the shorts are too high-waisted now, I'm going to move the paper bag waistband down by 1 inch. The shorts are also too baggy looking on me since they didn't fit to begin with, so I'm going to be folding under a princess seam on the front of the shorts and top stitching it down. Now I can lower the waistband by marking where the new top edge will be, and then I mark another line 2 inches below it for the elastic casing. Trim the extra fabric on top, leaving only enough to fold under for the elastic casing. Press the seam allowance along the edge of the waistband and then fold it over at your new top edge. Luckily, the pocket openings and the size of the pockets weren't affected by this change. Fold under the seam allowance, lining up the edge with that 2-inch line we marked earlier, and pin the waistband in place. Now we're going to top stitch the waistband down along the edge, but leave an opening at the center back to slide the elastic in. I also went ahead and sewed the paper bag seam along the top, which will also complete the elastic casing. Next, slide the elastic back in through the opening, and I trimmed the elastic to fit me and sewed the ends closed. And lastly, sew the opening of the waistband closed by stretching it so that it lays flat, and top stitch it down. Here is the before and after of both top and bottom from Walmart. I'm so happy with how these shorts turned out and love how the new princess seams added some more personality to them. It's a simple way to make shorts more fitted on you. The lowered waist is perfectly high-waisted now, or else it would have been even higher on me, and none of the changes interfered with the pockets. The last item I'll be transforming from Walmart is this bodycon dress with buttons down the middle. So many clothes from Walmart have buttons randomly added to them, and I'm just not a fan of it. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove all the buttons. Now you're left with a panel down the middle, and after some inspection, the front is actually all one piece. So I decided to seam rip it open. The front of the dress has extra space now, so I decided I would move that extra material over to one side of the dress to create a princess seam and a leg slit. It took me a few times to correctly mark the princess seam, but once I did, I pinned the section down, marked my seam line at 2 inches to take in that extra space that was opened up, and then I sewed the princess seam down. I actually sewed a permanent stitch up to where my leg slit starts, and then from there, I used a basting stitch to close up the rest of the dress. Next, I want the dress to have spaghetti straps instead of the thick straps that it came with, so I mark out my new design and cut it out. To create the skinny straps, I'm going to cut around the armhole where the bias tape is sewn to the edge and recycle them as my straps. And then I seam rip the rest of the bias tape that was along the neckline and will be resewing it onto my new neckline. But first, trim the extra material away from the princess seam and hem the slit while it's still closed. After the slit is hemmed, go ahead and seam rip it open. Now we can sew the bias strip along the top of the dress, and you actually want to stretch and sew it enough so that it holds the dress together. The first time I sewed it, I didn't stretch the bias strip at all, and the neckline got all stretched out. So stretch the bias tape, but don't stretch the dress. Once you sew the bias tape right sides together, flip it over to the wrong side of the dress, fold under the raw edges, and hem it down. And lastly, trim the straps to fit you, mark the placement of them on your dress, and sew it down by placing them behind the dress and top stitching them with a zigzag stitch. Here is the final transformation. In this case, less really is more. The buttons on the original dress was just too much for me, so I love that the new simple look can be styled in many more ways. I'm literally so in love with how every item turned out, and I hope it can give you some ideas on how to transform your clothes at home. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!